Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for your special guest host, Marcus Richardson.
Good morning, Alliance Nation. This is Marcus Richardson out of Centennial, Colorado. My beautiful bride, the other half, is not with me. She's getting the kids situated and getting them off to school. So you get to deal with my mugshot today. But I'm honored to be on this call this morning. I'm honored to have my buddies on here, my warriors. We've been in the trenches, just got back from Breakthrough, and I'm really excited. But what I'm going to do today is kind of tell you, like I said in the video, the intro that I have, why I've been around for 11 years and what's kept us and the team to continue to keep coming together. So I'm going to get my first guest on here. I'm not going to waste any time. This young lady, I've watched her grow over the last 4 years a lot. Saw her get married last year to her boo thing. And I'm really excited to introduce my friend, Miss Ariel Bean, to the call. If you could pull up Ariel. Hey, Ariel and Rory, I got both y'all in your shots, in your close-up. So we're going to start with Ariel. So Ariel, just tell them a little high level, a little bit about you, how you got started with the Alliance, and we'll kind of take it from there.
So my name's Ariel. It's still Painter, but I am married to Rory Bean. How I got started in the Alliance. So when my dad was 54, he ended up with Alzheimer's. And dealing with all of that stuff, Rory and I, his dad also at the same time had diabetes, congestive heart failure, and Alzheimer's at the same time. And we were able to work this business just a couple days a week and still be able to pay all of our bills. And we did that for a few years, and that was absolutely great. So I know Marcus wants me to talk a little bit about the events that I've gone to. Breakthrough was just our recent event. If nobody was on that one, that was great. Very intense. And it was very team building. Just the way it was done differently. And I think I learned a lot. Probably my favorite thing from it was, I know we have Jeff Bright, who does all the animals, and then Marcus came in and he also does all the animals. But for me, Marcus put it on paper. And so when I read it and I can see it, then that's how I learn and absorb things better. So I just absorbed all that information so much more. And I'm like, oh, now it makes a lot more sense.
Quick question, Ariel. So Breakthrough, because we got the NatCon coming up January 13th through the 15th. Now, how much was the ticket for Breakthrough if you did the early bird special? How much was the ticket?
The ticket was $750 per person.
Okay. Now, our ticket to NatCon, for those who don't know, is $199 right now. So tell me, Ariel, why would you invest $750 to go to a meeting? Who does that? Like, why would you do that?
So the reason that we invest to go to all these meetings is for a couple of reasons. Part because I like to feel like I'm part of a community, and I like having people that I know who are doing the same thing as me, who I can relate to. The second reason is because every time I go to an event, I learn something new that I did not know. Like when we went to family reunion this year and hearing Brian Rojas on how he does the ERS made it so much more simple, because like he does it at the same time as he's filling out the app and has them read the ATM. And it cuts so much time out of doing that appointment and makes it a lot easier to do. And then going to even the AEP training from the OBARs, they taught me a new SEP code that I had no idea existed. So
okay, quick, for us, those who are not in Medicare, because we got brand new people, what is AEP and what is SEP? Like, talk to us a little bit about that, because you got some people that have no idea.
Sure. So AEP is annual enrollment period, where most people who are on a Medicare Advantage can do as many changes as they want. And then you have other times throughout the year where you're going to need a special enrollment period in order to enroll onto a Medicare Advantage plan. So that's what that is. So I learned a new one of those. And if you figure the amount that I spent to go there, if it helps me sell a couple Medicare Advantage policies, I'm making money by going to the event.
Okay. When was that event, the Medicare training?
The one that I went to was a couple weeks ago in Dallas.
Okay. And for you, is that the one where if you go, you got a lead credit too?
Yes.
Okay, nice. All right. And then how much did you invest in that event?
And that event, I think it was about $450 total. So that's plane ticket. The registration was like $20 and the hotel.
Okay, got it. And then let me ask, because some people don't know this. How much did you and Ariel, how much did you and Rory invest in your ticket to Breakthrough, plane ticket, and getting there? Hotel.
So that is a good question. So the tickets for both of us was about, what was that? $1,500 total. Our flights, we fly a lot. So we put some of it on Southwest points. So we only had to pay about $350 for the flights, $600 for the hotel, and then maybe a couple hundred for food.
Okay, so I just did some quick math, and my quick math in the last 2 or 3 weeks, you guys invested about $3,100 into your business. Does that sound about right to go to an event?
Right.
Okay, and then here's the other thing that I didn't mention. Did you guys already buy your conference ticket at Breakthrough?
Yes, we did. And that is something that we plan on doing every time we go. So we just make sure we've got the money to buy them at the event.
Nice. So tell me why, though. Tell me why. Because some people, they've never done that. They've never been at an event. So they don't really understand the emotion and the energy and like what's happening.
So my biggest reasons, again, are because I like having the sense of community. I like seeing all these other people I don't get to see most of the time, talking to them. I learn all sorts of little things just talking to all the different people there all the time. And then the way I see it is if you don't go, you're going to lose a lot of money. You might be able to figure out some of this stuff eventually, but it's going to take a lot longer.
So we looked at it. I just kind of broke that down over 2 weeks. We got $3,100 for the travel, and then you bought your ticket right there on the spot. So if you put your ticket in there, another $200 for you, that's $3,300, and then another $200 for Rory, that's about $3,500 that you guys have invested in coming to events.
Right.
So is it safe to say that you believe in events?
Yes, it is.
I have a good mentor of mine who tells me if you want to see what someone believes, Marcus, just check their pocketbook. Their pocketbook will tell you what they really believe in and what they think is really important to them. So with a $3,500 investment, I would say for sure, Ariel, it's important to you and to Rory.
Right.
All right. And then a couple more questions real quick. You ready? So when you come to the one in January, we always talk about this on our team calls, but what are you expecting to get? What is it that, you need to get help with? Like, what is it when you come? What are your intentions, I guess, is the best way for me to ask that question.
My intentions are, I guess there's a couple. Typically, we have a lot of fun. And I don't know what I'm going to learn, but I always learn something new that I didn't know before. Even if it's small, it helps a lot.
Yes, 100%. And I like the part that you said fun, because that's our motto: have fun, make money, make a difference. So that's huge. And then I love, Ariel, how you said that you guys invested the $3,500, but how much money would you have missed had you not made that investment of the $3,500?
A lot, because I think it really helps us. The breakthrough event that we just went to, it really is helping us work with people on a deeper level, like especially our team. And so that's a lot of money that you'd be missing out on if you did not go to that.
Nice. So you believe in investing in knowledge?
Right.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Ariel, for jumping on. I know you do have to run, so we were trying to make sure we got your insights in here first. It was awesome. It's always good to see you. And Ariel is for us, she's our Medicare expert. So, and I have a referral for you too, Ariel, since I'm not finished getting certified. Don't let me forget. I got somebody.
Okay.
All right. So next, we're going to turn it over to your boo thing. Mr. Bean, Rory Bean. I've seen same thing. I've known Rory for about 8 years, but I've seen him grow immensely over the last 8 years. And then when he got married, he grew exponentially because one became two, right? Became one. But I love what Ariel has done, how she's brought it to Rory, the fire. Not saying that, let me just clarify, okay? Rory had fire before, but now he was like, Marcus, I want to win the trips because Ariel really wants to go. And he's the kind of man that wants to do whatever he can to make sure his wife has a smile on her face. So that's my little 2 cents about my man, Rory. So I'm going to release Rory to you guys and let Rory kind of same thing, Rory, for those who don't know you like I do. So give them a little high level, kind of how you got started with the Alliance, and then we'll go into some of the questions and talk about the event.
Perfect. Well, let me start off by thanking Andy and Jane. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to share with the nation. Thank you, Marcus, for inviting us onto the call. Again, this is my first call to be able to be invited to, so I'm fired up. So high level, I was in the Air Force for 9 years. I worked with the Forest Service government job, thought I was going to retire from both of those positions. Due to circumstances outside of my control, I ended up losing both those positions. Did a lot of nitnoid, side jobs. I've done construction. I've done, a little bit of everything, 911 operator, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So I've done a lot of different stuff. Right prior to working here, I was doing IT recruiting. And, basically went to work, dreading job every single day. Hated it. And, heard about the opportunity from a guy, and he said, here, come check out this. And that's where I met Diane Lampy. Diane brought me on and, basically told me how the whole story went. And I'm like, I'm in. This was September 15th of 2013. That night I signed up in class. In 2 weeks, I got my license. October 2nd of 2013 is when I actually got my license. I ended up writing a policy on myself because, that's the first thing you're supposed to do is write a policy on yourself. Right after that, we had a hotspot, and Marcus threw down a challenge to me. And he says, Rory, I will provide you a hotel room if you show up at this next event. And I'm like, okay. And I believe Marcus. Life is good. So we end up going out there, and I'm in this hotel room with like 6 other guys, and I'm laying on the floor. It was a very crowded room, but I made it. I ended up this was a Wednesday night that he threw that down. And then that night I bought a next day air ticket because I had to leave on Thursday to get there by Friday morning. Bought the plane ticket. He picked me up at the airport. Dropped my bags off in the hotel room. We went right to conference. So I'm up all night, go to conference. The very first thing they talk about is annuities. And I'm like, okay. I don't even know how to spell annuity, but they told me how to do that too. I was like, yes, because I'm not a spelling machine. One thing leads to another. I'm up all day, all night. I was up until 2:00 in the morning with the team and everybody like that, getting to know, trying to absorb as much as I can. Went all day on Saturday, absorbed all day long, went until 2:00 in the morning again. Got up on Sunday morning, went to church, did more training, then we flew back home. So over that weekend, from Thursday morning until Sunday night, I had 10 hours of sleep. And I learned about annuities. So if you were to even ask me if I think conferences are important, I'm going to say yes.
And tell us why, Rory.
So I learned that people have these things called 401ks, retirement plans. Everybody has them. Or I thought everybody did. I got home and started, doing some of my first appointments. The third application I wrote was $405,000 annuity.
Say what?
And I'm like, I didn't even know this person had money. You'd never know it looking at them. So I ended up writing that, and I ended up getting a check for $21,817 that showed up at the next conference. I didn't know it was going to be appearing in my bank account at that conference, but that's how it took, basically 3 months for it to process and everything. But had I not gone to that conference, I would not have learned about annuities. Had I not gone to or learned about annuities, I wouldn't have replaced my income from my last job in one check. Oh, by the way, I got fired from the other job because I was too happy about a big old fat annuity.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
So I've been doing this full time since Christmas of 13. This is all I do.
There you go. Christmas of 2013. So let's put this in perspective. And I'm going to use the numbers Ariel gave us for the previous event. Okay.
Okay.
Went and already registered. That event was about $3,500 because you guys already got your ticket for January. So let's just use that as our number, right?
Okay.
And then you said your commission, Rory, was $21,817. Did I hear you right?
That's correct.
Okay. So for the people listening, listen to this return on investment. He said he did not even know what an annuity was. He goes to the event. He gets trained on the annuities. After he gets trained on the annuities, he understands it. He closes one for $405,000. He has a commission of $21,000 on one sale. One sale. And I'm guessing, Rory, you were not at the top contract when you made that first sale, correct?
Bingo. Starting contract.
So my brand new people listening to me, why should I invest $200 to get this ticket, Marcus? Here's why. Let's say Rory doesn't go, and I'm using his $3,500 number. So it's not going to be $3,500 for you because you're not going to go to the AP like Ariel did. You're not going to, go to the other stuff. The breakthrough event is a lot less. But even if you use the $3,500 number and you're going for two people, you and your spouse, he would net $18,317. So the question for those who are watching this, is it worth the investment to go and get around the fire? Is it worth the investment to learn what we're doing and how we're doing it? Some people say, well, I don't have the money. Rory didn't either, but he found and made a way. It's not really about the money. It's about the desire. So what we're going to talk to you today is we're trying to sell you on raising your desire level. I'm not, people say, Marcus, you're trying to sell me. Yes, I'm trying to sell you on raising your belief level. You hear Ariel's story. You hear Rory's story. You see what they are doing and how they're doing it. Now, Rory, talk to me a little bit more because you're selling annuities like they're going out of style now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I like them.
All right. Now, you also got some other stuff in the hopper. Would you say a lot of that is residual from what you learned at that first event?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This year, I have a $300,000 annuity that I just wrote a couple weeks ago. We're waiting for money to transfer. It's all been approved and everything like that. This year, I've done about $800,000 in annuities alone, not life, just annuities.
My man. So Rory, at $800,000, if you're just keeping it simple on your commissions, what's been your take home at $800,000 just on annuities?
Beats the heck out of me. I don't have my calculator.
Let's just do it. Let's just say 5%. I'm doing the math right now for you.
Okay.
So 5% is $40,000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So people say, well, Marcus, I don't want to go. What if Rory and Ariel don't go? What if Rory doesn't go to that first event and learn about annuities? It's he might have learned about, he could have. I just don't want to risk it.
That being said, that was the best training on annuities since I've been at the Alliance. I've learned some. Chris and Bam do phenomenal, but I learned more at that particular event than I have at any other time. And it has not come up since, not like they did in that one.
Nice. So same question I'm going to ask Rory. You guys already got your ticket. Ariel let that out the bag that you guys did for the other event. Same question. Why do you buy your ticket at the event? Like, what's going through your mind? Like, what's on your heart?
So, like Ariel said, being around the community is huge. sometimes we just feel like we're that lone warrior that's out there by ourselves with no backup. And that's like our story is the only one that's like this. Like Ariel was mentioning over here at Family Reunion, we had so many people going up and telling their story. I'm like, I'm not the only one, and I'm like, it relieves so much pressure when you hear other people are going through the same battle that we're going through. And when they share, oh, this is what I found. Oh, that's a good approach. But you don't learn that if you don't go to the conferences. Okay. So you learn the tricks, the trades, the secrets. You hear about people that have, done this, done that. And it's like, hey, this is how you can make more money. This is how you can avoid losing money. This is how you can do this. This is how you can do that. You learn that at the conferences. This is when you get talk to people like Andy Albright face to face. Talk to people like Belle Crause face to face. Talk to people like Marcus Richardson face to face. I have the privilege of having Marcus just down the street, so I get to see him a lot, which is great. Okay. But sometimes you want to talk to Eric Belair, who is, a Medicare guru as well. And you just want to talk to him and say, hey, what did you do? How do you deal with this? And by going to the events, you can rub noses with all the people that you have the questions for that are outside of the video calls.
So you guys, sounds like you and Ariel both love association.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like it. All right. Next question. You ready, Rory?
Yep.
Same question, but tell me, what are you looking forward to in this January event? Like, what's your expectation? What are you hoping to get from January?
More money.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me you go to events to make more money, but that's kind of, wouldn't you make more money by just staying in the field? That's kind of counterintuitive. Help me with that.
Well, Andy has competitions. Last year at NatCon, we ended up getting what, $1,500?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was in the event. I didn't know I was in the competition because all I did was work. I was out there in the field, but I went, and then it's like, I get told I have to sit in a certain area because I'm going to be up on stage. I'm like, what the heck for? And I ask Ariel, oh, we won an event. I'm like, we did? Woohoo! So we ended up with $1,500 extra, because we went to the event, because you don't make the money if you don't go to the event, So, yeah, there's that too.
So when there's a contest, I'm hearing you say you must be present to win.
That's what I understand. So I always show up. And if it's not true, I still show up just in case.
Just in case, just to be on the safe side. Nice.
But in reality, I mean, learning, you never know what the nugget is that you're going to pull out. I mean, you have these little simple conversations, these side conversations, the ones that aren't happening on stage. When I go to people like Andy, I'm like, what do you mean by this? And he tells me that one little secret. Or I go to Joe Dukes and he says, hey, look at this. Or, I go to Adam Katz and say, hey, go to Paul Roberts. It doesn't matter. Fitz, it doesn't matter. I talk to them all. But they give you those little nuggets that you won't get unless you're at the conference.
100%. Thank you, Rory. Thank you, Ariel. You guys did a phenomenal job. I'm honored to serve with you, to serve alongside of you, and to serve you. And I am excited about what we have going on. I'm also excited about being in Ireland with you guys. And I'm looking forward to going to Australia and New Zealand with y'all next year. Well, in 2024.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys. I love you. Be safe.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. So you heard from my friends, Ariel and Rory. Now you're going to get to hear from another friend way over on the West Coast. So when she plans an event, she really has to plan because this young lady, Belle Crause, is my hero in more than one way. She's a war hero. She served our country. Thank you to her and to Rory, and not just them, but all our veterans that serve our country, because I know it's nothing that we take lightly for us to be able to have this freedom. But Belle is way up in Washington. So I want Belle to jump on here, talk to us a little bit, Belle. Same thing, my hero, Miss Belle Crause, but tell us, you and your hubby, tell us your story, kind of high level. how you got started with the Alliance for those who don't know the awesome Belle and Jake Crause. And then we'll go into some of the questions about events and what was important to you and why you always make it to the events.
Marcus, thank you so much for having me on here today. It's always an honor and a privilege to get to serve the larger team. Whenever I get asked, I'm shocked. I really am. I still feel like I'm just Belle. When I first started, I was prior military and I served in the Army for 8 years. That's how I met my husband. And then we had children, and I was on the bomb squad in the Army, explosive ordnance disposal. And when we had children, I figured that probably wasn't the best profession for a mom to have. So I traded my Army stripes for baby wipes, and I stayed home for about 12 years. Was a stay-home mom. And that's when we were introduced to the Alliance. So here I was, I'd been out of the workforce for 12 years. We have a special needs daughter, and my son got into college a few years early, and the college fund was not ready a few years early. And so we were looking for a way to make some extra money that was still very flexible, because my daughter had therapies that I had to be there for 5 days a week. And so we were introduced to the Alliance, and I have never been so grateful for a conversation in my life. That one conversation from a friend of ours, Brandon Bulis, who flew helicopters with my husband in the Army, has changed our life forever, like literally changed it forever. We started part-time. I remember my first event. So I got to tell you, I started in 2016, part-time, running business 1 day a week. And we were, hearing about conference coming up in January, NatCon. And I'd been on the Wednesday calls. I'd been on the product calls, activity calls. And I was seeing all these people that I had grown to admire. It's like they were just so smart, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to do this, and they look so friendly. And I found out I had a chance to meet them in person at National Convention. And so I was like, I'm going to go. We're going to go to National Convention. Now, mind you, I was a part-timer doing this 1 day a week. We had to figure out childcare for a special needs child in order to go. My husband was still active duty military. Jake was still active duty. He had to take leave in order for us to go. And so we just figured it out. It's like we're going to, because we see these titans in the industry on these calls, and they're going to be there. I'm going to get to ask them questions face to face. Because in case you guys don't know this, truly this business is caught, not taught. And so in our excitement to go to National Convention, we thought we're going to do something really big. And this was big for us because I was working 1 day a week. We're going to invest in extra leads, and I'm going to work 2 days. 2 days a week for the 2 weeks prior to conference. Now, again, that's doubling, y'all. I know that doesn't sound a lot, but that's doing double. And that means double figuring out what to do with my special needs daughter, double figuring out what to do with the household, because my husband, he's gone a lot when he was in the military. He couldn't be there. And the place that we decided to do this, because of the amount of leads that I wanted to get, was about 3.5 hours away. So then I needed a rental car and a hotel. And so we invested all of that the 2 weeks prior to conference, because we wanted to roll into conference on a victory. We wanted to go in there. I felt like I needed to be worthy to stand in front of an Eric Belair or a Stephen Davies or a Diane Lampy. I felt I needed to be worthy to stand in front of them to ask my questions. And I wanted to earn that worthiness to stand there and ask. So we make all those arrangements. I go down to Portland, and this is in December, y'all, because, conference is in January. I go down to Portland. I booked more appointments than I'd ever booked before. I think I had like 12 in that 2 days. Never booked that many before, because remember, I was just 1 day a week. And then on my way down there, literally, it made national news. The largest snowstorm in decades hits Portland, Oregon. Like, there's people abandoning their cars on the freeway, the whole 9 yards. And so I get down there, and I don't get to sit a single appointment. People are stranded at work. Those that weren't were going to go help those that were stranded. I'm driving around in a new city. I was lost, people sliding off the road. So I come back after 2 days of that, just kind of defeated. We'd invested more than we'd ever invested before. We had made arrangements and just like threw chaos into our routine life more than ever before. And my husband's like, we got another week before conference. Let's try it again this weekend. So I was like, try it again. Did you not hear my war story? I just got beat up. Mother Nature herself showed up to take me out. And he's like, no, 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 no. It's just a moment in time. It's just one battle. It's not the war, right? And I was like, he's right. I rebooked all 12 of those appointments. And because I had more dial time, I was able to get even more appointments for the next 2-day opportunity. So now I think I had like 17 appointments. And I am like on cloud nine. I got 17 appointments in 2 days. That's the most appointments I'd ever booked.
That's right.
You know, so I was fired up. So I get the rental car, get the hotel, get back down there, and they have the second wave of the largest snowstorm they've ever had in the history of Portland.
Say it ain't so, Belle. Say it ain't so.
Same thing. Like I get down there and I don't get to sit a single appointment. People snowed in, people stranded, people left town, people, like going to help loved ones. And literally, I don't get to sit any of them. And then there's conference. And there was no doubt in our mind. I was like, I didn't earn my right to ask my questions, but I'm going to go and see if they'll talk with me anyways. I'm going to go and see if I can truly do this. Because I mean, y'all, I was just beat up pretty bad. So we go to conference, and this was NatCon 2017, and I will never forget. I get chill bumps thinking about it. When Michelle Allman got up and told her story of how she was a stay-home mom who had to decide that she was going to take some financial control there for their family. When I heard Minerva Profil's story, how she came from another country and her accent was so thick, she had a hard time communicating. She couldn't book appointments on the phone. So y'all, she stood in the mall and waved people down to get appointments. I'm like, that's a fierce woman right there. And I think about the adversity that these ladies faced. And then they had a group of ladies come up on stage that had got to spend the night out at the Albright Leadership Cabin. And it was these elite ladies that had done very well, top of the top in our company. And I thought, I want to be a part of that. What do I got to do to be a part of that? And so at meal times, we got to sit with these people, like I said, the titans of our company, of our industry, and just sit there and listen. I didn't even know enough to ask the right questions, y'all. That's how little I knew. I didn't even know what questions to ask, but I sat at tables with people who knew the questions to ask, and I got the benefit of hearing the answers. And I filled up a notebook, and it was just being around the people who had overcome. These people were in the fight with me. I was not unique in that I had adversity. That was not unique. That was just a snapshot in time. What was going to set us apart, if we chose, was if we went back and tried it again. Mm-hmm. So when we came back from conference, I still had those leads. I still hadn't run those appointments. I go back, I book them again, go back down there, and I write like $17,500 in business. Did 45 apps in 3 days. It was crazy. It was crazy. And we're talking final expense. I wasn't like Rory went out there and got a big annuity. No, I'm talking final expense, mortgage protection, accidental death. I mean, like it was the grind of doing it. But I felt so victorious in coming back. And I knew in that moment, had I not gone to conference, I would not have had the confidence to go back and try a third time. I would not have the spirit, that fight within me to just like, you know what, it's going to work. Because here's what I saw at conference. I learned that like Fitz was the first, other than Andy, to make $1 million. Diane was the fastest to make $1 million. Stephen Davies was the youngest to make $1 million. Paul Roberts was the most recent to make $1 million. And all I kept hearing is made $1 million, made $1 million, made $1 million. I'm like, these people from all walks of life are making money doing this. I can too. And that's what I got from my first conference. And we have not looked back. We have not looked back.
You preaching good, Belle.
You wanted that conference, but that's what I had.
No, you preaching good. I'm going to send my offering to the Crause house. I love it, girl. All right, so tell me, okay, so our conference tickets, here's the part that we got to really hit on. How much is the ticket, Belle, in January?
$200 if you're wise enough to get on it early.
Right. When does that cut off?
At midnight tonight.
Nice. When does the price go up?
Tomorrow. Like at midnight tonight, like 1 minute after. You're either in or you're out.
Is that Eastern or is it your time? For my West Coast people, what about my West Coast people?
I believe it is Eastern, isn't it? Because that's the system runs on East Coast. So those of us on the West Coast, us West Coasties, you got till 9 p.m. Don't do it at 9:01.
Right.
What we call that, you pay if you delay, right? You miss the special. How many of y'all listening to this will line up on like what they call it, Black Friday? They line up on Black Friday outside of the store to save like $15 on a bicycle, right? I don't get it. Like, here's your chance in the comfort of your own home to like literally invest in yourself, invest in your business. I find it interesting when people say, how much does the event cost? You know, we are in an industry where you don't go get a college degree for it.
Right.
What we get is association and training. And if you were to take a single college class on average, and I researched this because, you know, my kids were in college. So I researched this. One college credit on average in the United States is $559 for one college credit. But most classes are 3 credits. So 3 credits, that's what, $1,675 for a college class. Now, in order to get your degree, you got to string a lot of those classes together before you're even allowed to go make money in that industry. Whereas we can spend less than a single college credit and go and get the training that we need to turn around the very next day from getting back and go make money in our industry, go help people in our industry. So whenever someone comes to me with, you know, what does it cost? I'm like, it's an investment in your education in the industry that you are in.
Well said, Belle. Well said.
Any other industry you're in, you have continuing education that you do. I don't care if you're a teacher, I don't care if you're a doctor, I don't care if you're a plumber. There's master classes, there's things that people do to become the go-to professional in their trade. Y'all, this is our trade. You invest in yourself to become the best that you can be in our industry, and you get what you pay for. When we came to Breakthrough, like the tickets for Breakthrough, no brainer. After that first conference, Jake and I knew we will not miss an event. So we always buy our tickets for the next event the moment the information's released. The moment, because the decision is made. We made a decision 6 years ago, and we're still living out that decision. So once you make the decision, you just continue to live it out. And it's just keep doing the next right thing. Do the next right thing. Do the next right thing. These are the habits of the successful people. This is what we do. We go ahead and get our tickets for the event. And then we go ahead and book our lodging. That's the other struggle some people come up with is that, well, lodging is expensive or it's all booked up. Not if you're the first ones to do it. There's plenty of vacancy right now, right? Because we're not waiting to the last minute to try to figure it out. And you add a level of complication when you wait. Andy says weight is heavy. It gets harder the longer you wait. It's very true. So don't wait. Go ahead and you know, if you reserve your hotel, y'all, you don't have to pay for it right now. You just put down your credit card for them to reserve it. They don't charge you until you show up and use the room. So go ahead and reserve your room. Get your event ticket and reserve your lodging. Those are 2 things you can do today. You can do today to ensure that your brain is going to go into overdrive in your subconscious, making sure you can get there. And now, because you've decided to go, you're going to push yourself in your business to earn the income needed in order to make it happen and be able to take the time out of the field, right? Be able to take the time out of the field while you're there and not be stressing it. And what we pick up at these events, it's the association. I feel like I have best friends all over the country and I can't miss it. Like if I don't go to Breakthrough, I wouldn't have got to hear Marcus preach on Sunday. If I didn't go to Breakthrough, I wouldn't have got to shake hands again with Mr. Andy Albright. I treasure the opportunity to be around Andy and Jane. Oh my gosh, that lady is my heart. That woman is the fiercest warrior I know. Her heart is strong. Y'all, you don't know a fighter until you know Jane Albright. And if you don't know Jane Albright, get your butt to National Convention and introduce yourself to Miss Jane Albright, right? Because here's the thing that I learned. You don't have to be worthy to talk to them. You already are. You're already part of the team. You show up, you're part of the team, you're there, you have access to these titans that we respect and that we honor here in this industry. So I cannot say how valuable it is. Every conference I've gone to, I went with an agenda. What did I want to learn? Who did I want to associate with? Because we get to be in charge.
Say that again, because I think some people miss that and they have the side conversations with people who are not doing what they need to be doing. So I'll say that one more time, Bill, because I want people to catch that nugget. If you're taking notes, please write this one down.
Whenever I go to a national convention or an event, a corporate event, there's two things I have my own agenda. What do I want to learn and who do I want to meet?
That's right.
Andy says to make a friend before you need a friend. Be intentional when you get there. Be intentional about these are the areas I have questions in the how-to. This is the area I have questions in the mindset. And these are the people that I have seen on the calls, on the trainings that are crushing it in those areas. And y'all, you can't do everything at once. That's why we keep going back. Like you cannot learn final expense, mortgage protection, IULs, annuities, Medicare, all in one thing, in one 3-day event. So pick the area you want to learn, focus on that at that event, and then get your ticket for the next event so you can focus on the next piece when you go to the next event. You don't show up to one college class and get your master's degree. You don't show up to one and get your master's degree. You keep showing up for class. I'm going to keep showing up for class because I'm in the pursuit of my doctorate in success. I'm in the pursuit in that what they call it, that MBA, that massive bank account. I'm in pursuit of being at the top of our industry. And the only way to do that is get around people at the top of our industry because iron sharpens iron. And so when you go with that mindset of I am here to focus, then you're not going to waste time on little sidebars. You're going to be the one that helps honor and respect the speaker when there's a conversation going, hey y'all, listen to this. I want to hear this is good. I'm taking notes. You're going to be the one to help make that event that much better for the people around you. And I love it. Like every time I go, it's like, it truly is. It's like that fire gets relit inside me. I got my fire right here. I brought it back with me, y'all. That fire gets lit inside of you, and I can't not go. It'd be like not going to see my kids. It'd be like not going to see my sister. It'd be like not going to visit my dad. I have to go. I have to. It's in my DNA now. This is what we do.
This is what we do. So now, Bill, and I know because you sold me, I'm sold. But if you got someone that's on the fence and they're like, man, I want to go, but I don't know if I can really afford the $200 now. If they couldn't afford the $200 now, what would you tell that person? Or they're like, I got to wait and I'm okay with paying the $499. Like, what would you tell that person, Bill?
I would say do not delay. Here's what I know. If someone showed up in front of your house with your dream car, brand new off the lot, your dream car. It's got the interior that you want. It's got all the amenities packages that you want. It is your dream car. Shows up in front of your house and says, you can have it for $5,000, but you got to have it by the end of the day. I guarantee you would call every friend that you know. You would sell everything in your garage. You would cut off the cable. You would find a way to have $5,000 by the end of the day to buy that $300,000 car sitting in front of you because you see value in that car. Y'all, there is no higher value than an investment in yourself. So if there's someone on the fence right now that is saying, I don't have the $199 right now. Imagine if that $199 was a life-saving cure for a disease that you have. And believe you me, it is. It is the cure for poverty. And that's right. Is a disease that permeates the United States bigger and more rampant than any disease that we've got. So we've got the cure for poverty, and it's $199. Who are you going to call to borrow $20? Who are you going to call to say, do you want to buy my Xbox? Do you want to buy my PS3? I don't even know what these game systems are anymore. So if I'm throwing out stuff like, if I say Atari, forgive me, right? I am not a gamer. I am a professional business builder. That's what I know. But who are you going to call and say, can I sell you my couch? Because I have a feeling I'm not going to be sitting on it for the next 6 months because I'm going to be out building my business. Can I sell you my TV? Sell everything that you've got. Look around you. All the stuff in your space used to be money. Yep. And all that money used to be your time. because you have spent your life trading your time for money.
Right.
We are trying to teach you a better way. Sell anything that's not nailed down by the end of the day to get that $199 to get your ticket. And I promise you, you will have an ROI, a return on investment, 100 times fold, 200 times fold, because what you learn, you no longer, like, you now know it and apply it the entire rest of your life. My story, my testimony, my actual event that happened, I turned around and wrote 17,500 that one week. But what did I write every week after that? It was all rooted in that same event until the next event where I learned about IULs and annuities, where I learned about Medicare. It compounds. So it wasn't like, I love Rory's story that in that one sale, but how many sales has he made since that day because of that day? You cannot put a price tag on that. So if you're on the fence on investing in yourself for $199, I would suggest you read a book and get your mind right, because there is no greater investment. If any of y'all listening on here is on the fence about $199 and your family goes out to eat at a restaurant one day this week, shame on you. Shame on you. Because you have just spent the money that you could have invested in their entire future.
That's right.
Their entire future by giving up going out to eat one time as a family.
That's right.
So I don't mean to get too harsh on that, but I believe it. I believe it to the core of my being.
And I can see it, and I know that, Belle, and I'm so honored to have you on here, Ariel and Rory. You guys killed it. Killed it. The mic drop. So if people are watching this and you're wondering, should I really buy a ticket for $199? One, that some people say, why don't you just give it to me for free? Because when you get something for free, you don't value it. Okay, so it's not going to be free. And when you have some skin in the game, it means more to you. So we want you to be in Dallas, right? We want you to be at the Renaissance Hotel, January 13th through the 15th. Now, here's what's crazy. My son's 15th birthday is January 14th, okay? But I've listened to Albright over the years, and he says, look, we can plan that thing around what we got going on. So I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas, hanging out with my chosen family, and I'm going to be learning and getting better at my craft and serving and helping where we can serve, okay? And I love, there's a couple things that Belle said and that Ariel and Rory said that I just want to kind of point out here. One is, Belle said, so for those of you guys who don't know, she has a special needs daughter. She said she had to get a babysitter. It sounds like for some people who haven't decided, that could be an excuse. Or no, I'm sorry, not excuse. That's your reason for not going. I'm a special needs daughter. I got, and then you got to pay someone for your special needs daughter. Or your reason could not be for going. Rory said, I didn't have a place to stay. Oh, that's my excuse. I don't know how I'm going to. I made a deal with him. I said, hey, Rory, if you can get there, buddy, you can stay with me, right? So is it going to be your reason or your excuse, or are you just going to get results? Because you can't have both. It's either I'm going to get results and I'm going to show up and make it possible so I can get there, or I'm going to have that excuse. And then here's what I want you to notice, what Belle said, what Ariel said, what Rory said. How much is that excuse going to cost you? How much is it going to cost you in the long run? Well, if you never go, you won't know, right? Well, what if I didn't go to my first event? So I'm going to share my story with you a little bit too. So I love when Andy says, I was listening to him at Breakthrough, and he said, I'm not trying or pushing as hard, but I'm so thankful to Andy and Jane. One, that they didn't quit. Two, that they saw something in me and have spent the last 11 years pouring into me and helping my wife and I. And three, that this is literally revolutionized and changed my life. I was texting Andy this morning and just telling him thank you. Thank you for serving, for being who you are and helping. But I'm glad he pushed hard with me. So my story, when I first got started, y'all, I was 2 weeks in the business, and I get a call from Mr. Albright on a Wednesday. And Andy calls me, he's real country. He's like, what up, Bo? I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, who is this? We don't talk like that. I'm from Colorado, right? So he says, hey, man, he asked me a question. He says, that scripture that talks about getting wisdom and knowledge? I said, yeah, I know that one. He says, well, that's where you are in this business. I said, okay. He said, you need to come down here and meet me. Now, let me paint a picture for you. So you guys are seeing the Marcus and Carla Richardson 11 years later, right? Winning the awards, top 10 personal producer, business is growing. But what you don't know is when I started 11 years ago, I was probably, if you go to the breakthrough, I'm sure I was a 60 percenter, if you catch my drift. You follow me? But Andy stayed with me long enough to show me how to grow into the man and leader that I need to grow into. So here's what he told me. One, he spoke my language, and then he starts selling me. And he said, hey, Marcus, you need to come down here and get this wisdom and knowledge. Now, my favorite book says that when you find wisdom and you find knowledge, do everything you can to get it and don't sell it. So if it costs you, even if you're listening to this call after the time expires and it's $499, $500, I promise you it will be worth it. If you are wise and you hear this call before the deadline and you have not bought your ticket, go on the Alliance National Alliance. What is it? Alliance Events, the allianceevents.com. Get your ticket to NatCon for January 13th through the 15th for $199 because you're buying and you're getting the wisdom. Now, it takes faith. Okay. So Andy's talking to me and says, I want you to come down here and meet me. Literally, you guys, I was paying my mortgage with a credit card. That's how broke we were. We were on food stamps and state assistance and had no money. And so we're having this conversation. And then Andy starts doing, I love what he does. So what he does is, this is a coaching moment for our leaders. He came to me and he said, do you want to go? I said, yeah, I want to go. And then he asked a question. He said, you got any money? Because that's number one objection for most people, right? I can't afford it. I don't have the money for the ticket. I don't have the money for the plane fare. I don't have the money for the hotel. And so I told him, nope, I don't have any money. Andy says, all right, you got anybody who loves you? So now what he's doing for our leaders, right? We're trying to help people overcome their objections. We're trying to help people overcome their reason for not going. So just like we sell in the house, he was selling me on coming to the event. So I said, I got a couple of people who love me. He said, well, they let you borrow money for a plane ticket. And I was like, Andy, I don't think so, man, because I'm that relative that calls and you know he's going to ask you for money. So they kind of hit the red button on me. He was like, okay, cool. And he said, do you have a credit card? I said, yeah, I got a credit card, but I painted a picture for him. I said, Andy, I'm paying my mortgage with the credit card. He says, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I said, okay, what's the deal? And this is why I did that same thing for Rory, because you guys heard me say this if you were at this thing on Sunday. I believe that we're blessed to be a blessing. Because of Andy's blessing, he was able to bless me. So he said, if you can get down here, I'll cover your conference ticket, I'll cover your food, and I'll cover the hotel. You just have to get here. I said, okay, that's a fair deal. Now, Carl and I have been married 7 years at this point, and I know in order to stay married, you got to have these kind of conversations, okay? So I go upstairs, I'm talking to Carla, I'm like, babe, Andy just called me. It's the president CEO of the company. I'm all excited. She's like, okay, what's going on? I was like, well, he wants to meet me. She said, okay, cool, where at? I said, well, here's the thing. It's in Dallas. She looked, Belle, she said, Texas? I said, mm-hmm. She said, okay. And then she said, well, when is it? I said, here's the other thing. Now, mind you, he called me on a Wednesday. So for those of you that are hearing this, you have 3 months to get ready to get to this event. I had 2 days, 2 days. So no excuses, okay? So when Andy told me this, he said, it's on Friday. I said, okay. So I told Carla, I said, here's the other thing, babe. It's on Friday. And she looked, she said, are you talking about this Friday, Marcus? I said, yeah. So she goes upstairs, y'all, goes to bed. No kiss, no good night, no nothing. So clearly I'm not going to the event, right? So I wake up the next morning, I'm talking to my boy, Robbie, and I'm like, Robbie, I don't think I'm gonna make this, so man, I'll try to get to the next event. Robbie wasn't tripping, he was cool with it. So that's the other thing. If people let their excuse be their excuse, we still love them, be nice to them, but do everything in your power to overcome their excuses and their objections because they need what we have, okay? So my wife comes down the next morning and she says, Marcus, something is telling me that you need to go. Call it intuition, call it God, whatever you want to call it. That was the still small voice that kept this thread together. So I said, babe, are you serious? She said, yeah. So I said, all right, I'm about to get my plane ticket. My plane ticket was $550. I'm putting it on the credit card that's about to max it out. So I'm like, babe, I'm about to get this plane ticket. And it's $550. And she looked at me. I want you guys to listen to me. Look at me. If we're sitting down having tea together, coffee if you like coffee, listen to me. She said, if you want something different, you have to do something different, Marcus. Ooh, that hit me to my core. I said, all right, so we're going out. I got this next day plane ticket. Now, everybody, if you've never been to an event, you hear Belle's testimony, you hear Rory's testimony, you hear Ariel's testimony. Everybody's nervous. We don't know how it's going to work. but we know that it can work. Okay. So we go out there. I'm going on a leap of faith. I only talked to Andy once for 10 minutes, but I was desperate. I was desperate for a change. I wanted something different in my life than what I was getting. And I had to go around people who were getting the different results that I wanted to get. So I get this next day plane ticket. I get down there and then I get off the plane and I'm starting to freak out, you guys. Can I be honest with you? I'm like, wait a minute. Who does this? Who goes to a next day plane ticket after talking to a guy for 10 minutes that you don't even know? I was like, this is crazy, right? This is like 60 minutes. Marcus Richardson gone missing. You know, in my head, I'm important, Belle. So they put out an APB for Marcus Richardson. So I'm like, Belle, I told my wife, I said, babe, if I don't call you in like 2 hours, I'm supposed to be at this hotel with these people. Please send out the report. So I was afraid. Can I be honest with you guys? So when you're getting the ticket, you're going to be afraid when you're coming to the event. You've never done it before. You're going to have trepidations. But I came with the expectation. Let me just share this with you and drop this in your spirit. You get what you expect. I expected to have a life-changing encounter in Dallas. I expected to grow and to get knowledge and to get wisdom. And because I expected those things, that's what I got. I sat down and had breakfast with Andy that morning. And same thing, we laugh at Rory. But my first event, I was sleeping on the floor with Robbie Kraft and Chris Hill. I show up in my FUBU outfit that's 2 sizes too big, my do-rag on. Robbie's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Marcus. He's like, no, you don't look like the picture on your Facebook page. You're not the same Marcus I know, right? But because I was hungry and expecting different, I got different. So we show up, I sit down with Andy, we have a conversation. And so I told you I'm going to tell you why I've been here 11 years. In that conversation and in that event, I got to hear the heart of the company. Because a lot of times people say, well, what makes the Alliance so different than all these other organizations? It's our heart. It's the heart of the leadership of Andy and Jane Albright. Our heart is different. And so we attract different people. We attract people that want to have relationships and not be transactional. When I had this first conversation with Andy for an hour, he hadn't made an override off of me yet. He had nothing. But he sat down with me for an hour, let me ask him questions. And in this list of questions, I had one that was real important to me. And I thought I was slick, Belle. I snuck it in there. It was my 7th question, but it was the most important one to me. So Andy says, Marcus, do you mind if I look at these questions? I said, no, I don't mind. He said, can I answer them in the order that I would like to? I said, go for it. So he looks at my questions. On the question, the 7th one. Now, everybody, if this offends you, turn the video off, but I'm going to go there. So he looked at my list of questions and he said, it was, who do you say Jesus is? He looks and he says, Jesus is the Son of God. That's who I believe he is to me. He looks at me and he says, are we good? I said, yeah, we're good. And for me, that was important because I wanted to know that the person I'm following has the same values. Now, is Andy perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. We make mistakes, but we do everything with the heart of, I want to serve others. And that's why I'm still here, because I got to see the culture of the company. I got to have the associations with the leaders, like what Belle was saying, the millionaires. I got millionaires' numbers in my phone that I've never would have had access to. And if we could just get our team to do what we tell our kids to do, you know how you always tell your kids, watch who you hang out with? You know, you don't want them hanging out with the drug addicts because they're going to be a drug addict. You don't want them hanging out with the people who are loose and easy, right? Because you don't want your kids being loose and easy and keeping their zipper down, right? So we always are telling our kids, watch who you hang out with. But if we can just coach ourselves and say, Marcus, watch who you hang out with. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be an impact player, if you want to make a difference in people's lives, you have to get around people who are impact players. You have to get around people who are millionaires. You have to get around people who are making a difference. Because when you get around people, that's when you'll start to catch what they know. And then here's the other thing. It says that when you're there together and you dwell in unity, is there where God commands the blessing. I believe the reason that the Alliance is so blessed and so prosperous is because the unity that we have as a team. And I know wherever it's unified, God commands the blessing. And I am honored to be a part of this blessing. I woke up this morning and I looked at my overrides and I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Some people don't make what we made in a day, Belle. My overrides was $9,900. What if I didn't go to that event in Dallas? I promise you, I've had tough moments where I wouldn't want to be here, where I want to throw in the towel. If I would have missed $9,900 on one day override. And that's because Andy and Jane have helped me and sewn into my life. And it's going to continue to get better. We got Marcus coming on, doing massive training, and the content is out of this world. January 2023, the 13th through the 15th. I recommend coming on Thursday the 12th and leaving on Monday just so you get all the information. Meet the Belles of the world, the Rorys, the Ariels, the Obars, the people, Bellairs, the people who are doing it, the Megan Woods. Have the conversation, but come with the expectation that says, you know what? I'm getting what I came for. I'm coming for breakthrough. I'm coming to understand. I'm coming for wisdom. And then I'm going to take the wisdom that I learned from the event. And here's the key. Once you leave the event, you got to have massive action. Massive, massive, massive action. Belle didn't go home and not call those leads. She went home and called the leads, and it netted her $17,000. Rory did not go home and just do anything. He went home and got to work, and it netted him the $18,000, a $21,000 commission. Ariel, she went to the AEP. She learned things. She's our in our agency, she's the #1 AEP or Medicare producer in our whole agency. Like, we're taking the information and we're applying it. I look forward to seeing you in January. Laura says the same, of 2023. Get your ticket. Today is the last day. It cuts off at midnight Eastern time. If you're seeing this before Eastern time, please do whatever you can to make it and get your ticket. And then leaders, don't just send the video to people. Call them, influence them like Albright influenced me. Get involved, help them overcome their objections, and help them make the right decision to transform their lives and grow their business. This is Marcus Richardson out of Aurora, Colorado. We approve this message. Thank you. Y'all have a great rest of the day.
Record.